Welcome back guys. This is Manoj and once again welcome back to the React.js series. So in this tutorial we will cover what React context is, how to use it and lots more. Basically React context allows us to pass down and use data in whatever component we need in our React app without using props. In other words, React context allows us to share data across our component more easily. If you can see on your screen, we have a parent component called A, then we have child components B and C, and then we have D, E, F, G, and I. Alright, so let's say we have a property in component A, and if we want to use the same property in component I, then we have to pass down the same prop from A to C, then C to G, then G to I, then we can use that property in component I. Again, this is called prop drilling. So overcome this problem, we can use our React context. All right. So if you see on the browser, I'm simply returning one property called name, and in that property we are returning a simple value Manoj Deshwal. If you go back to Visual Studio, so in the app.component, I am using employee component and I'm passing a simple property called name, and in this employee we are using the same property in profile component, and in the profile component we are using the same property on work profile. Even though we don't need this name property in these two components, but still we have to pass it because otherwise we cannot able to access this in work profile, because work profile is a child of profile and profile is a child of employee and employee is a child of app component. All right, so as I mentioned, this is called prop drilling. Again, prop drilling is a term when you pass props down multiple levels to a nested component. So now let's make some changes and see how we can achieve this name value without prop drilling in React.js using React context. Alright, so first of all, let's create a new component inside this component folder and give it a name context demo.js, and here we will create our context. So import React from React and let's create the context. So context equal react dot create context. So this is our context. Basically, a context is an object. When React renders a component with subscribe to this object, then it will read the current value from the matching provider in the component tree. All right. Now let's create a provider. So context provider, and this will come from this context dot provider. So what is this provider? Basically, every context object has a provider in React component which allows consuming component to subscribe the context changes. Again, it acts as a delivery service. Whenever you ask something from this component provider, it finds the same value in the context and provide whenever it is needed. Now let's create a context consumer, and this will come from context.consumer. So what is a consumer? Again, it is the React component which subscribe to the context changes, and it allows us to subscribe the context within the function component. It requires the function as a component, and a consumer is used to request data through the provider and manipulate the central data store when the provider allows it. All right, now export context provider and context consumer. Save. Let's go to our app.js. So here we need to use our context provider first. So import context provider and let's copy and let me comment this out. Context provider. Here we can pass whatever value we want to pass. So use value and I'm using the same value as Manoj and inside this simply use our employee save. Now go back to employee.js. Let's comment this out and simply use profile, and in the profile let's comment this and use simply work profile component. And now in the work profile we have to use our context consumer. So first of all, import context consumer from context demo, and let's comment this out, and here simply use context consumer, and inside this we'll use a function. All right, so in the curly braces, name, and here return, let's say simple div, and inside this div we will use name is, and in the curly braces simply pass name. Save all. Now go back to browser. We can still see the name is Manoj Deshwal. All right, let's simply use one string. This is employee component, this is profile component. Perfect. So you can see we are able to get the direct value from this app.js inside this context provider, and we don't need to pass this property down to every component. All right, so this is how we can simply use our React context and get the value from a central store, or you can say the central place, without prop drilling. All right, so this is all about React context. In the next video we will talk about HTTP in React, how we can use HTTP get, how HTTP put, delete, everything. All right, so thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye bye.